Welcome to the Three Technoteers. I am Steven, and I'm joined by Chilton and Tony. And Anthropic just stopped Skynet from happening, apparently. Like, literally. Now, OpenAI just made a deal with them after Anthropic, got pushed out the building. So we'll see how that goes. Apparently, I just read an article. OpenAI said that the Department of Defense demonstrated. Let me bring it. I have it up right here. They demonstrated. Where is it? Oh, come on. They demonstrated deep respect for safety. Yeah. Okay. Um, and I got some oceanfront property in Wyoming too. But like, you know, we'll see how this goes. But they do like that's. I mean, this is literally how you get Skynet. Like the like mass
Well,
surveillance and automatic AI controlled weapons with no human in the loop at all. Like that's literally Skynet. That is literally what Skynet was in the movie. Like, why, bruh?
Oh yeah.
I'm building all sorts of AI stuff, like trying to make AI robots that are like actually like conscious and all that kind of stuff. And like even I see the folly in that. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like Jesus.
Yeah.
yeah, you
I
don't you don't
think
want yeah.
no, go ahead. Go ahead, Sheldon.
Oh, I was going to say you don't want to have to listen to Google Gemini tell you that it's very very sorry that it killed all those people. It didn't mean to. It mistook the school bus for an enemy insurgent thing.
Yeah.
And we don't. The
I'm
AIs aren't
I'm
there.
so thankful they didn't go to Google at least, because Gemini is the dumbest. Oh man. Oh my God. I'm so thankful they didn't go to Google at least. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh well, I do wonder if the two laser misfires, supposedly misfires that were out in El Paso, the one that shut down the air. Did you guys hear about that?
No,
Uh-uh.
Okay,
did
so
not hear
two
about
weeks
that.
ago, about 2 weeks ago, the airspace around one of the around El Paso was shut down for a while. All the airplanes on the way there were told to divert to other airports. It turned out it's because the Border Patrol used a borrowed military laser to try to shoot down what they thought was a cartel drone. It turned out to be party balloons. Also, they missed. But
Oh, you posted about that, didn't you?
yeah, I
Yeah,
talked
I
about that. Yeah.
remember. Yeah,
So
yeah.
so then, just a few days ago, the military shot down a drone, thinking it was a cartel drone, apparently, and it turned out it was a border patrol drone. So
Jesus.
that and both happened in the same place out in El Paso. And so the thing is, in both cases, what they haven't said was who made that call to determine that this was a drone or a cartel drone. It is the
Yeah.
reason. One of the things I wonder is, did the FAA shut down the airspace just because there was no communication with the Border Patrol, or because the communication with the Border Patrol was that their AI fired the laser incorrectly and get the other airplanes out of the sky because we can't really say with certainty that it's definitely going to shoot down the cartel drones, because that's one
Yeah.
one very easy obvious place that you would have some kind of AI is looking for drones in the sky that aren't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
That's an easy one.
Yeah. But I mean,
So
you would still want a human in the loop to just make damn sure that it's not like a Cessna that some dude's
yeah.
just
Yeah.
flying and happen to go in the wrong spot. It happens, it happens. So like,
Well,
yeah.
the other thing is to think about like flying a drone, right? Is that your typical person, like without your FAA license, you can only go up to 400 feet. And a lot of people don't realize like 400 feet in the air is really
Oh,
high.
dude, it's
And
so up
so
there.
it's
It is
so
so
high.
up
So
there.
like I get why they're like, oh, 400 feet's a max. And I've been to that max limit with my drone. And I am like, this is high enough. You can see everything that you need to. So
Yeah.
personally, instead of doing the lasers and shooting them off like that, I'm surprised that they don't have some kind of like, a frequency gun that would just basically, pulsate these frequencies
Oh
and
yeah,
shut down the
yeah.
electronics or jam the signal.
Well,
Just
like
do a jammer. Just
that's
run a
what they were
jammer. And
using
then,
out in Ukraine and stuff till they
yeah,
came up with the
yeah,
fiber optic stuff, you know.
yeah. Spider web
That's a
nest of everything.
mess,
Woo!
man. God.
Yeah. And that's not going anywhere. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
believe they did that. And now it's stuck there
Yeah.
forever.
No,
I
birds will be
mean,
making nests with it for the next 1,000 years, basically. Like
mhm.
crazy. Man, it's yeah, it's pretty scary times. And then waking up to the news this morning about the bombing, like, bruh,
Yeah.
like this
Yeah.
is it's intense. I hope to whatever that is worthwhile that open AI is a worthwhile company. Because like
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
because
I
they
hope that
struck a
they put
deal.
something.
Like
Yeah.
so
I hope that OpenAI isn't just gonna go, oh yes, we got the deal of a lifetime. We're set, boys.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
like they forgot to read that fine print of basically they're gonna do whatever the hell they want with it.
yeah,
And whatever whoever's in office is going, yep, we're just gonna do it, have it run its own thing, let it do it. I really hope that they don't just let it go. That's
yeah.
what I'm wondering. That's the only thing
And
I could think of that
see
Anthropic was the reason why they were like, nah, we still want control over this. We got to have a dead man switch. There
yeah.
has to be a dead man switch.
And see, what worries me is like some of the wording that I'm seeing in this article about it. Altman said the Pentagon agreed with his company's principles that OpenAI's technology would not be used for domestic surveillance or for autonomous weapon systems, affirming that humans would take responsibility for the use of force. That's not human in the loop. That's just someone being like, "Oops, that was my bad." That's
Right.
not like, bruh. We remain committed to serve all of humanity as best we can, Altman said. The world is a complicated, messy, and sometimes dangerous place. Sometimes dangerous place. That sounds um this is going okay. That sounds a lot like Charlie Kirk saying, they're guns being legal, all that kind of stuff. The dangers from that are worth it to have guns legal, and then he gets killed by a gun, like that sounds
Yeah.
literally the same as that to me. So,
Yeah.
dude, I don't know, man. And like ChatGPT is the one I use, like I prefer
We're
it
taking
all over all the others, but as a company, I don't know if I trust them at all with any kind of thing like this.
hmm.
So, yeah, it's pretty scary. It's pretty
Yeah.
scary. Like just I don't know. Uh not just the whole not having a human in the loop thing is just such a huge mistake for such a
It is.
Because
high stakes thing,
what does that bring to the table when, if it does make a mistake? Well, now it's like working in a union and you start holding people like trying to hold somebody accountable for something, and then it's like, well, that's just the rules. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
we can't
yeah,
we can't we can't have cameras and stuff in here recording what we do because you could hold somebody accountable. They don't want it in there because of that. You know what I mean? And it's like, well,
yeah,
it's in here because we need to watch the equipment.
yeah.
We don't want anybody held accountable for doing something wrong.
And it's like, if AI makes a bad decision, like you can't hold the AI accountable. You can't send it to prison for killing 1,000 people, like it doesn't,
Yeah.
it's just like, at best, you can use that data to train it better, but you still got 1,000 dead people. So like,
Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Okay.
you always have to have a human in the loop, like with
So here's a
high stakes
weird
stuff.
thing. In the United States, a company is allowed. This is so weird that I'm saying this out loud because this was a theoretical discussion. I don't know, 5 years ago that I had with a lawyer friend of mine, and we're talking about the legalities of a security guard who is working for a company late at night. He sees someone, he thinks they're a burglar, he shoots them. And it turns out if that person was actually trying to steal something or trying to break into the company, does the security guard, does he basically get brought up on murder charges, or is this fall under something else? My understanding from that conversation was that a company, a corporation, is allowed to use lethal force to protect its assets.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, because
So
they
just
are considered a person, basically. So,
yeah, they're companies too, my friend. Yeah, that whole thing. So so consider this for a second. A company using an AI, using a fully autonomous security guard robot, could that be allowed to? Could, if that accidentally shot someone and killed them, would who would get in trouble for that?
well, I would figure
And
that would fall under like booby trap laws, you know?
okay, okay. So it's a good point. So let's say that you have a security bot at your company that strays outside of the company area.
Hmm.
Eh, Does is if it kills someone, is that still considered something that no human's going to be going to get in trouble for? And then, but here's where this gets weird.
Hmm.
If a company is allowed to protect its assets, does that only apply to buildings? And it turns out it's not true. A company is allowed to protect, for example, a ship, okay, or an aircraft. If a ship is sailing somewhere and pirates attack it, they're allowed to fight off the pirates with lethal force. So you get to a point where you start wondering, well, what exactly constitutes that company's property where it would be allowed to shoot someone? If you had a fully autonomous
Hmm.
drone flying from one place to another and it had a weapon system to prevent, people from being able to steal its packages, and it shoots someone who it thinks is trying to steal something, but they weren't, does the company get in trouble? I don't know. That's why you want humans in the loop for stuff like
Hmm.
this.
Yeah.
And then And then you get to the kind of more ludicrous stuff. What is considered an asset? If a company owns a piece of property, that's an asset. A vehicle, asset. Can a person,
Uh,
if they're go on?
Going back to the first, it would probably be like vehicle recalls. You know, you'd have to have a certain amount of people accidentally shot before they'd have to do something about it. You know, I mean, that's how it would be. Like that.
Yeah,
That's
Sure.
exactly how it would be. The first
Yeah.
time,
So then
first few times, it would be a big uproar. But like after 5, 10 years, no, no,
it's a
move the
statistic. Then yeah,
vehicle. Yeah, just
Yeah.
yeah.
statistics at that point.
Or vice versa, where, let's flip the script. What if it doesn't detect this burglar that comes through there? What if it doesn't detect it? And then that
Yeah.
burglar,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
and then whose fault is
assassinates
that?
a few too
Like,
many people. And now
huh?
you're
That's a
going,
great point.
Yeah,
this great robot is so great. So,
huh. Yeah. And think about
And
that.
if a company buys a congressman, um, or and they accidentally kill them, is it, if it's their asset, does that who gets in trouble for that? So here's the weird thing, right? If you it, one of the questions becomes in the purview of trying to prevent its own loss, financial loss, a company is allowed to do some kind of ridiculous things that normally a person will get in trouble for. And here we can say, well, they're castle law, castle doctrine, that kind of thing. Maybe they're trying to protect their own stuff, but it does extend a person's ability to deflect any kind of penalty if they're able to form a corporation and
Yeah.
then buy a drone and then kill someone and blame the drone or blame the company. See
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a weird thing. That's why I feel like
Yeah.
there needs any kind of life and death thing. There needs to
Huh.
be a human in the loop.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you end up with a situation where you could form a company specifically with the intent to kill someone and set up a scene where that
Hmm.
is feasible.
Wow. Yeah. Literally just legal murder. Just
Yeah.
legal
Yeah.
premeditated murder.
So here's
Huh.
a concept because I
Wow.
knew
Yeah.
about this thing where there is this a movie. It's called Mercy. Okay, Chris Pratt, etc. gets accused of murder. I think you
Oh, yeah. I
military
haven't seen.
stuff.
I saw that sound. I
Yeah,
haven't seen that yet.
and there's no judge anymore. There's not a person, so human emotions are out of it. Okay, and I
Judge
heard about
Dredd.
this. He kind of right, might as well be. And but he has to prove his innocence and stuff like that. So I guess what are your guys' thoughts? Let's say it's not a bodyguard situation, but still AI to murder, right? So what what if it was we don't have judges anymore? Nobody's biased anymore. People can just change their minds, and that's unfortunate. As long as it's following the law, right? But no, there's no bias in there. There's nobody going in with, dealing with situations or just no emotion on the table. Now we have an AI that looks at the case and goes, these are the rules, this is the law, etc. What if that might be something that might go into effect? What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I've always kind of like wondered what if the jury is the one that makes the decisions anyways, what's the point of the
Well,
judge anyways?
you do
Like,
have right. That's your right. You if you want to go to trial, you would deny, and then they would go to trial. Otherwise, it's in front of a juror, in instead of the jury. So, I mean, you have in certain cases both situations. But let's say it's for all things. Like, for instance, speeding tickets. You don't go face a jury for a speeding ticket, but you go and, you know, and you go in front of a juror, and basically he or she, or the judge, in front of the judge. I keep saying juror, sorry. In front of the judge, and you want to plea your case. So it's like, maybe you got a traffic ticket from the city that, you ran a red light even though clearly it was yellow when you passed through it, but it went red, and now you have to prove that innocence kind of deal. When something like AI could just take care of that. It's like,
yeah.
oh, well, the vehicle was, 80% past the light, blah, 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 etc. But a cop pulls you over when that happens instead of this camera deal. And so now, it can access all that. So I don't know. In some cases, I could see it, but I also get leery on something like that where AI is like, oh, this person submitted a bunch of stuff against this other person for allegations, and now this person needs to go to prison because that's the law.
So as far as like the like traffic stuff, like for like using the running red lights as an example, at that point you'd probably have they'd have sensors and stuff on the traffic lights and stuff. So like
Hmm.
I mean there'd be like no pleading against it or anything anyways at that point, it'd be
Sure.
like I mean, dude, you're guilty. Like, or, oh yeah, no, you're not guilty. Obviously, here's the measurements right here. Blah, 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 blah. So, which, man, that's kind of like with the mass surveillance stuff, like
Well,
it
yeah. So,
can kind of be a double-edged sword in some ways because if he had like some precise measurements for things like that, you could be like, nah, but look, I was past it while it was still yellow. See, I have the measurements
yeah.
right here. The government fucking measurements, like
But
whatever.
but who
Like,
would you tell if the AI has already decided against you?
Right.
yeah. Well,
You
Is
already.
it
So
because here's the
here's
thing: if we have a fallback where a person has to look at it, then why do we just not have the person look at it in the first place? If every time that you go to court,
the AI summarizes it.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And see, like, so the other thing, like, to touch base on that. So today, uh I went to my city council. We had a city council meeting, right? So I went to it this morning, and at the end of the council, the police department chief of police had was in there. So right now, Iowa, because that's where I'm at, is trying to put in these surveillances per counties where they auto scan vehicles and try to auto scan license plates. Now, not that long ago, we just seen like a major drop in stock for Ring cameras because Ring was talking about going in and doing their AI stuff and being like, "Hey, we want to access all your cameras to be able to catch criminals." I mean, technically speaking, right? So
Yeah.
this kind of fell into that too, and
They're
I didn't think
advertising it as like being able to like find your
your dog's
daughter's
lost.
lost dog and
Your dog,
yeah, like
yeah, your dog's lost. It's
okay.
in this neighborhood. It's okay, but everyone's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And then all
Johnny
the
boy
creeps
here.
are like, yeah, okay, so little Tiffany's in this neighborhood. Like,
Right. Well,
okay, yeah,
sure.
that's great idea, Ring. Like, Jesus Christ.
So that's kind of like that concept that I saw like in today. And I guess, you see it on the internet and stuff, you don't really think about it, but then hearing it here, it's like, okay, they want to set these separate boxes up, basically, these separate camera systems, and they want it to be able to run, but they need the funding for it. And they want to be able to do that because then, his prime example was, there was a child abduction. And it's like, oh, what time did you notice they were gone? They could go back and then they can see in these cameras like
Yeah.
this vehicle, and they may only get the color and the type of vehicle, but that's going to help with an Amber Alert. And I get that too, but it's also again constant surveillance.
Yeah.
And I just kind of get
Okay.
sketched on that. I'm not out causing trouble. I'm not a criminal by any means, but at the same time, this kind of goes back to like our third or fourth episode when I had brought up how we were talking with digital world and the crypto and going digital instead of physical paper money kind of deal, and how in China where their surveillance is so high that like you get caught jaywalking, they just directly pull it from your bank account right then and there.
Yeah, see, and
There's no trial, there's no nothing.
that's
You
my
go.
issue. That's my biggest issue with the mass surveillance and all that kind of stuff. Is like, yeah, obviously I'm fine with catching people doing bad shit, but like, I'm gonna jaywalk. Like,
Sure.
that's happening. I'm gonna jaywalk. If I gotta be there, I'm gonna just go there. Like,
Yeah.
so like, yeah,
So okay, so there are two things that come up for me every time that this kind of stuff comes up because I actually I suggested that to our city council that we look at we already have traffic cameras. I just suggested that they boost the resolution of the traffic cameras and store the data for like 24 to 48 hours so that in the event there's a Amber Alert and we're looking for a particular car,
yeah, you can
that's an
literally
easy
track
enough
it on a
thing to
map,
do.
super easy.
Yeah, that's an
Yeah,
easy enough thing to do, and that would be something that you could do with. You could use a lightweight AI, but you could even use something like OpenCV and just a smart algorithm to
yeah,
pull it off.
yeah.
But the
Literally
thing is,
detect a car. If the car is blue, save it.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Simple.
So, but the thing is, oh yeah, and a perfect example. I had friend of a friend who was in a road rage accident, road rage situation a few years ago. Just driving down the road, some other guy, there was a big, got mad at him. Other guy shot him, right? And then the other guy totally got away with it, and the first guy bled out, almost died. I
Oh,
don't know if he died, but
Jesus.
they took him to the hospital. He almost died. So it's one of those situations where, well, it was on camera. The traffic cameras caught it, but they have such shitty resolution, and they don't store the stuff that by the time the police got around to looking at all the cameras, they'd already lost some of the footage.
So they don't store
So,
it at all. It's just
well,
live feeds
it,
and that's
it,
it.
yeah, in our case, at the time, they were just live feeds. They didn't have any storage. And then some of them had storage, but it was like, 4 hours, that kind of thing. Because as they pointed out, that shit's expensive, right? The storage. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so two things come up whenever this comes up. Number one, every time that there's a company that's advertising, we're going to help the cops with the surveillance thing, it's going to be great. They're going to make serious bank off of that thing. That's not going to be a cheap
Yeah.
implementation. and the cops and the city council, they don't know any better. They're just going to be like, well, I guess we need to allocate several $1 million to this thing that's going to give us 72 webcams and
Oh, hey, I got a good company
hard
idea.
drives. Yeah, yeah. So see what I'm saying? There's someone out there making serious money off this thing. And the weirdest thing is it doesn't need to work. That's the best part.
Yeah.
It just
They're
needs to
not
work
gonna
well
know.
enough for them to
Yeah.
put it together, and then it starts to fail, and then they can be like, oh, we should use a different vendor. Oh, okay, great. What does the first guy give us a refund? No, he's not going to give you just,
No.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty good high level scam if you can get away with it.
Yeah.
And I think that the second thing is anything that can be used for surveillance or for good, there's gonna be someone that's gonna abuse it, and almost immediately.
Yeah.
And you got some, like in San Antonio, we've always got some kind of situation where some cop used, he pulled over someone else and accosted him. It turns out it's the cop's girlfriend's secret lover or something like that, and
Yeah.
the cop was like, there's always people abusing their power, and giving people a tool that powerful, that's
Yeah.
very tempting.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a lot of people that'll be like, "Hey, can I have access to that feed?"
Yeah, see, that's the kind of stuff that should actually just be controlled by AI, and then AI just gives you the fucking output from it. And that's it. Like that way you
Yeah.
don't have like creeps in there watching it and just all that kind of weird stuff. Like just have an AI that doesn't care taking care of it, and then have it give that output to a human. And then the human can be like, okay, so this blue minivan was seen traveling on these roads, blah, 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 blah. So now we know,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I would totally support AI being like, well, you would still have the human in the loop afterwards, using the output
sure,
from the AI, but yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and so one of my questions there is if we're gonna have a human in the loop. Oh, and I'm watching the time here. Am I right? We got just a few minutes left.
yeah, I think so. Oh, yeah, we're right there.
Well, maybe we pick this one up next time. But if we had a human, even if we don't have a human in the loop, we would want some kind of guardrails on exactly what kind of surveillance it was, what the extent of that surveillance was. Do we want it to be able to track an individual with, do they need a court order to track an individual? Do we want to know, is the thing where
Yeah.
we track a person only for the time after a crime was committed? Or are we, tracking people just to see where they go and learn their habits in case they're a bad guy, that kind of thing?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
that crime
Yeah, 'cause
prevention,
that's
something I know they want, but man, that gets
Yeah, no,
dicey.
the crime prevention is definitely
yeah.
the murkiest
'Cause
of
like
the waters
that
for
would
it.
that's kind of where some Minority Report stuff, right? Like
Yes,
that's the
exactly.
idea. Like that's how I
Exactly.
feel about it. It's
Yeah,
more of like to a point where it's like, okay, well, I get it. If someone's committing a crime, then let's trace it back and follow it. But then at the same time, AI is going to get to that point where it's like, this guy keeps going to here to this location and drives it here, but this person's vehicle and stuff is registered here, and the person that drives that vehicle actually works here. Why does he go here at 3 o'clock in the morning? That's
yeah,
interesting. So
yeah.
then it tips off like, hey, this vehicle goes here at 3 o'clock in the morning every day. Why? Why is that? So, and maybe he's just taking a break because he doesn't want to go home. People do it all the time. I'm not saying I do that, but I'm just saying in general, like, and that could just be, a waste of time for police or anybody
Yeah,
that's doing anything like that to
yeah,
investigate on. But at the same time, that's that surveillance that's
yeah,
unnecessary and to an extent unethical. But
yeah. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, if you're if you have like an active open case on some drug
like
lord
an
or
Amber,
some
like
something
the
like that, yeah, or
example,
Amber
yeah,
Alert or
Amber
something like
alerts,
that,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, totally, all day long, whatever. But it's just never gonna just only stick to that, and that's the
yeah.
biggest problem.
And
But
that goes back to like
I
what Chilton
guess,
was saying. So,
yeah, I guess yeah, we're out of time today, guys. So yeah, it's been a great talk. Very good episode, very intense episode.
oh yeah,
So
Yeah.
yeah, I guess thanks for joining us, everyone, and thanks for joining me, guys. Always
Thank you,
good
Steve.
doing this. See
Always
y'all
fun.
next time.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
See ya.